Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prodigy channel. And in this video, I'm going to be doing a little mock draft in preparation for my main home league that I got coming up here. This league is a non-PPR league. We got one quarterback, two running back, two wide receiver, one flex, one tight end. And this league does have a kicker and a defense. I don't usually like leagues that have a kicker and a defense, but we started this league like way back in the day. It's just kind of a tradition thing. So we throw a kicker and a defense in there. So yeah, no PPR. I just arbitrarily picked the number 5 spot. I have no idea why. I don't know where I'm drafting yet. We haven't decided our order, but I just figured, you know what the heck? Let's get a little mock draft going here. And we are doing the mock draft on sleeper.com because they apparently have a pretty good mock draft site. And wow, those little sound effects are pretty neat too. Okay, so Derrick Henry went number 1. Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, McCaffrey. Typically, I would expect it to go Jonathan Taylor, McCaffrey, then maybe Derrick Henry, but that was interesting. So right now, it's really between Austin Eckler and Dalvin Cook, or Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson. So it depends if I want to go running back or wide receiver. That is tough, man. I think both of these running backs have the potential to be awesome. They're both in electric offenses. The Chargers and the Vikings both have great offenses, and with a new head coach for the Minnesota Vikings, Skull Vikings, by the way, I think Dalvin Cook could be in for a big year. How much time do I have per pick? 2 minutes per pick? I don't even know where the timer is, but that's tough. You know what? I am going to go with... I'm going to go Dalvin Cook. I think he is due for a little bit of touchdown regression. He did not have many touchdowns last year. I don't know if this shows their stats, but long story short, he really underperformed when it came to touchdowns. I think that'll kind of balance out a little bit. And dang, I really wanted Aaron Jones to get back to me. He is one of my favorite players to target at this range right here. I think he, with Devontae Adams leaving Green Bay, I think Aaron Jones should be really involved in the passing game. And even though this is a non-PPR league, yardage is yardage, right? So yeah, that would have been nice if Aaron Jones went back to me, but let's see who we have here. We have Stefon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Javonte Williams, Deebo Samuel, Mark Andrews, Leonard Fournette. Got a few running backs here. That's kind of the end of the list of who I would draft. But also to go back to my first pick though, I would not think anyone is crazy for taking Justin Jefferson or Cooper Kupp at the spot where I took Dalvin Cook. The thing is, I feel like once you get out of these first couple rounds, there's still a lot of wide receivers that I like sort of in the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds or whatever, kind of in that range. And the running backs are not as locked in. So Dalvin Cook to me is a locked in running back 1. He might miss a couple games here and there, but as he usually does, but I think he'll be great. And that was a tough decision between Dalvin Cook and Austin Eckler. But now, do we go running back? Do we go wide receiver? If I were to go running back, it's tough because you got Javonte Williams with a should-be improved offense with Russell Wilson coming to Denver. Obviously, Melvin Gordon is there to split the backfield, but every running back splits work to some capacity, and I think Javonte Williams will eventually kind of take hold of that. Stefon Diggs, I think he's due for a good season here. He's a great wide receiver. Last year wasn't perfect, but he's a great player. You could go with a positional advantage of Mark Andrews here. Debo's always a good pick. Tyreek Hill makes me nervous because he's on the Dolphins now. We don't know how that's going to work out with switching teams. Just to experiment, I'm going to go with Javonte Williams. I'm very close to picking Stefon Diggs. You know what? I completely lied to you. I'm going with Diggs. I think that value is just too amazing. I think if Javonte Williams really hits, he could be a league winner. He was 1 pick away from falling back to me. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You've absolutely got to be kidding me. Well, now we're in a sticky spot. So like I said, I kind of like those running backs early on. If Javonte would have got back to me, that would have been perfect. But alas, here we are in the 3rd round. James Conner seems to be the number 1 running back. You got Akers. I mean, a lot of question marks with these two. I mean, Conner had a great year. But those injuries over his career, obviously every running back is subject to some injuries, but Akers coming off, who even knows what's going on with him? Boy, oh boy. I mean, this is a tough spot to be in. This is a very difficult spot. A.J. Brown is the number 1 ranked player. I think he'll have his weeks, but in Philadelphia, can Jalen Hurts supply targets to him? Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith. I don't know. That remains to be seen. But this is a non-PPR league, so his big, he might not be hyper targeted, but he'll make big plays, so that'll help a lot. Yo, this is tough. This is tough. The only running back that I really am genuinely somewhat excited about is James Conner. I wish Javonte Williams would have got back to me. I'm gonna go with Conner. In hindsight, let's say I went with Javonte Williams right here. Maybe I load up with a third running back and still get James Conner. Maybe, Tyreek Hill or Mike Evans falls to me. That would have been very ideal, but it is what it is. And also, just to kind of go off that point, I would have been pretty happy if Leonard Fournette or Ezekiel Elliott also fell to me over there. That would have been kind of crazy, but here we are in the 4th round. Wow. Okay, and like I said, there's still some solid wide receivers here. You got DJ Moore, very talented player. The touchdowns have always been an issue, but with Baker Mayfield as the new starter in Carolina, he might be in for a little bit of a resurgence. I did draft DJ Moore in my main NFL.com League of Bros league last year, and it did not work out very well. But I did trade for DJ Moore in the offseason, I believe before the Baker Mayfield trade, because I do think he's a talented player. Darren Waller, you could go with the positional advantage, but with Devontae Adams in town, still got Hunter Renfrow. I don't know how super targeted Waller is going to be, especially with John Gruden gone. John Gruden apparently loved Darren Waller. Man, this is tough. This is tough. I think it's really going to come down to DJ Moore or Mike Williams. I mean, Deontay as well is another. Ooh, that's another great pick. Mike Williams has, to me, some of the best upside. You know what I think I'm going to do? Stefon Diggs is such a stable force. He's so hyper-targeted. He's going to see the yardage. I think getting a guy like DJ Moore, who's kind of the same type of player, I don't know if the touchdowns are going to be there. I think a guy like Mike Williams or DK Metcalf can really give my team a boost at that wide receiver 2 spot where they could have a week winning performance. Whereas Deontay Johnson and DJ Moore, they should be somewhat consistent. But, the difference between 7 points and 10 points isn't that much, but the difference between 10 points and 35 points is a lot. So I am going to go with Mike Williams. And it is nice that I went with Dalvin Cook earlier on and not Austin Eckler, because if I had Eckler and Mike Williams, it's not a bad thing necessarily, but, only one player can score per possession. So we got a little bit of differentiation there. And look at that, DK Metcalf actually did fall a little bit. He's not someone that I've really thought about targeting, but I think he might be falling a little bit too much because, Geno Smith, Drew Lock. Last I heard, Geno Smith was going to start. I don't know who's really going to start. Neither of them are that great. No more Russell Wilson, but hey, man, DK Metcalf is a stud. So in the 5th round, that might be just who I need. Other than that, we got Allen Robinson. He had a really down year in Chicago last year, but that offense was just dreadful. He really kind of just didn't do much, but he's on the Rams now. No more Robert Woods. He should be the number 2 with Cooper Kupp as the number 1. AJ Dillon is someone who I actually won me a title last year because my opponent in the championship had Aaron Jones. I had Dillon, and Dillon, I think it was a snowy game against my Vikings. Dillon it was a close matchup, but he really kind of put it away. But when you look at the running back position, man, it's getting a little dry. But you know what I'm going to do? Dobbins, I'm a little bit skeptical of just because of the injury situation. It's really between Metcalf, Allen Robinson, Dillon, Hollywood Brown. I think we'll get off to a hot start and should be good. But I do have James Conner, so not necessarily a bad thing again, but I'm not going to go with Burrow or Murray. I think a guy like Jalen Hurts late or even Kirk Cousins later in the draft, I think would be a nice little value. If I'm going to go with a positional advantage, I'm hoping Dalton Schultz gets back to me. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I might go with DK Metcalf here. We're going a little bit wide receiver heavy. Well, not really wide receiver heavy, 3 out of the first 5, but we'll see. I'm just going with the best player available. I'm going with the best player available here. We'll see. There goes AJ Dillon. And Chris Godwin, if he's right, he might be a steal right there. Going after Michael Thomas, that seems a little strange to me. Dalton Schultz did not make it back to me. In this round, I really, really like to get Dalton Schultz or Jalen Hurts as like a positional advantage, because normally if you want to get a positional advantage at tight end, you got to go with a guy like George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce in the first, 1, 2, 3 rounds. But, Dalton Schultz, I think, is due for a big year to build off of last year. No more Amari Cooper. Jalen Hurts, I think, is a little bit slept on. A guy like Joe Burrow going ahead of him. Burrow is great, but in fantasy, you get points for rushing. So, but here we are. And looking at the running backs here, to me, Damian Harris, Miles Sanders, Kareem Hunt are all kind of in a similar tier. And based on this site's ADP, I'm not going to lie, Kareem Hunt might actually be the highest. So I think one of these three will get back to me. But if you look at the wide receivers, there's a lot of good options too. Mooney had a nice little solid year. Gabe Davis might be a breakout player for the Buffalo Bills. Juju, I mean, he after his first season, he was electric. He didn't do much in Pittsburgh, but on the Chiefs in that offense, he might carve out a nice little role. Adam Thielen, obviously, I love Thielen. He's getting a little older, but I think his end zone work will still be there. I think the Vikings will put up a lot of points. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown to build off a crazy year last year. And honestly, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think Brandin Cooks, I saved the best for last. I think Brandin Cooks, a lot of people look at him like, oh, he's just a safe pick. I don't want him. Dude, injuries happen. A lot of things happen. This guy is a great, every year, all he does is get 1,000 yards, handful of touchdowns. I expect him to do that again. He's like the only target in Houston. He might not be a top 3 wide receiver, but if he finishes as a low wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2, I would not be shocked at all. Wide receiver 1 might be pushing it, but you know what? We're going with Brandin Cooks. Amon-Ra St. Brown is also enticing. He's got a little more upside than Brandin Cooks, but I'm going to go with the known commodity in Brandin Cooks. All right, and who went off the board here? No way. Sanders, Harris, and Kareem Hunt all off the board. That is absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal, boys and girls and whoever. So now we're looking at Kenneth Walker, Devin Singletary, Tony Pollard. One guy that I'm targeting is Chase Edmonds. I think is my running back 3. If he's able to fall back to me, that would be huge. And pro tip, take a look at the team needs of the teams ahead of you. This team has 3 RBs, only 1 wide receiver. They went with a quarterback and tight end in the 5th and 6th round, so they got to get a wide receiver on their team. 4 running backs for team 7. This team is a candidate to take a running back. Maybe this team, although they have a quarterback tight end as well, so they might want to wait a little bit to grab more wide receivers and go with a running back. Team 10 could definitely use a running back. These teams both have 2, so these teams might take a running back here. That's tough. I like Thielen. I like Mooney. I like Bateman. We're looking at the quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of values late. I feel like Trey Lance is a nice little value. It's tough because I want to go with wide receiver because I think, the value there is so great. But this is just kind of a lesson here, guys. Let's say I got Javonte Williams here and I'm just still loading up a wide receiver here. I think even if, Adam Thielen is someone I have to flex, I think that could be not horrible. So, Dallas Goedert, I love the talent, but in that offense, man, I just don't know. I think he'll have his weeks. I got like Zach Ertz way later. I almost like that value a lot better. Cole Kmet as well. So I'm going to hold off on that pick. Kenneth Walker, that's a tough situation, bro. That is a tough situation. I'm going to go with Adam Thielen here. I know we're loaded at wide receiver. We missed out on a couple picks that I wanted, especially at that running back position. Hopefully some running back gets back to me, because if not, we might be in trouble here. We're just playing that ADP game, seeing who goes. So now it looks like there's Chase Edmonds right there. That is the player that I wanted to come back to me most of all. We could go ahead and take Dallas Goedert, but if you look at the running back position, it's drying up pretty quick. And at this range, I think Chase Edmonds is a great value. He should be the lead running back for the Dolphins. They just released Sony Michel. So Chase Edmonds should definitely see a lot of work there. Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson is a little bit enticing as well. But there's a few tight ends I like left, and not a lot of running backs. So I'm going to go with Chase Edmonds, lock that pick in. And so this is a 2 wide receiver league with 1 flex and 2 running backs. So it's looking like week 1. If this was my team, we would be, flexing a wide receiver. We got a lot. Our wide receiver core is about as good as you can get. It's about as good as can be. And I don't know what that sound effect was for but it's because Justin Tucker went. I guess that is kind of realistic for a lot of leagues. And And let's see who went off the board here. Zach Ertz off the board. Interesting. Okay. Well, now this is an interesting situation. Quarterback Matt Stafford is a nice little solid player, but Trey Lance is the upside that I want. I could just take him right now. I think that would not be a bad move. If you look at running back, I think Melvin Gordon, out of all these players, I think he is cemented in to have at least a role. I didn't get Javonte Williams, but Melvin Gordon might be in for, a decent season. A wide receiver, got a couple rookies here. Tyler Lockett he might be a value here, honestly, but I already have DK Metcalf, and I feel like my wide receivers are pretty stinking solid right now. I think we can wait for a guy like Cole Kmet. He's someone that I'm targeting. Really, this pick is between Melvin Gordon and Trey Lance. You know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to try to win my league here. You know what? I am going to go with Trey Lance. I think here in the 9th round, that is a fantastic pick. He's got rushing upside. I feel like in most leagues, he might go a little earlier than this. It just kind of depends on your format, your platform, your league, all that stuff.
What the?
I don't know if I actually changed the settings of this mock draft, but our league is a 4-point passing touchdown, 6-point rushing touchdown, 1 point for 10 rushing yards, like 1 point for 25 passing yards. So it's kind of just like the standard. And here we are. Cole Kmet is an enticing pick here. Taking a look at the teams ahead of me, they have a tight end, they have a tight end, they have a tight end, and they have a tight end. So it's likely that Cole Kmet would get back to me. You never know with, any league or, even a mock draft website might kind of screw you like that. But realistically, these teams don't need a tight end. If we take a look at the other non-tight ends, we got Mattison, who, there's a lot of questions about should you draft your handcuff running back. Typically, you limit your upside by clogging a roster spot with a handcuff, but with Dalvin Cook, it's a little bit different because he almost always misses at least a few games. Alexander Mattison, I just heard recently, there's a chance he might be shipped out. I don't know. Okay, so he could get traded. I don't know what the deal is. But if you look at the other running backs, there's nothing that really... Brian Robinson might be a solid little pick here. He just had a little... incident with like a car, like he got shot. He got shot, so hopefully he's okay. Obviously, fantasy doesn't matter when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I hope he's okay. But last I heard, he's gonna be very involved for Washington, even with Gibson there. Robert Woods should see some volume, but my wide receivers are so good, man. I think I go Alexander Mattison. Or do I want to win my league? If Kadarius Toney is also a very enticing pick here. Just because I'm so shallow, if I had a little bit more depth at running back, I would have held off on the Mattison pick. But if Cook goes down, or he's very crucial to my team right now, so I don't normally advise to draft a handcuff, but with Mattison and Cook, it's a little bit different. Plus, if Mattison does get traded, that opens, he might be a starter somewhere. So Cole Kmet, for some reason, did get drafted, so that ruins my whole plan. Kadarius Toney also got drafted. Kirk Cousins is someone I would have been targeting if I didn't take Trey Lance. So a lot of things not really going our way right now. But it's all hope is not lost. We do have Trey Lance at quarterback, so we don't need to really worry about that. Running back, Isaiah Spiller, Henderson. Robinson would be a nice little pick too. As we already talked about. At wide receiver, you got MVS. We don't know who the number one target is for the Chiefs. Could be MVS. I expect MVS to be more of he's going to play his role. He's going to get the deep bombs. He's a fast player, but I don't expect him to be the target leader. Pickens, he's a rookie. I mean, these wide receivers, none of them are really exciting me. At one point, Russell Gage did, but now it looks like Godwin is going to be back. They signed Julio. There's a lot going on there. At tight end, at this point, bro, I'm kind of just punting the position. Maybe I wait for a guy like David Njoku or Smith, but I don't usually like to punt the tight end position, but I would have taken Cole Kmet if he was here. But for whatever reason, he didn't fall. Isaiah Spiller, I don't even know if I brought up his name, but he might carve out a little role for himself here. And I didn't take Eckler. So honestly, right now it's kind of between Isaiah Spiller and Brian Robinson. I'm going to go with Spiller just because he's a higher ADP on this site. We'll see. Maybe one of them fall. Maybe Robinson falls to me. We'll see what happens here. Okay, Robinson did go off the board. A lot of tight ends and defenses are going very early. I was hoping this website wouldn't do that. They kind of wait till the last round or two, because that's what I usually do. And I usually don't even draft a kicker or a defense. Pro tip: just add some players, some lottery tickets just in case an injury happens or someone gets a change of their situation, and then right before week 1, just drop the 2 players at the end of your bench, pick up a kicker and a defense. All right, so here we are. We are in the 12th round. I'm not going to be taking a kicker or a defense, so get out of my face with that. No need for a quarterback. At running back, Tyler Allgeier. That's not a horrible pick. Kenneth Gainwell, who knows what the involvement is going to be. Khalil Herbert, new coaching staff with Chicago. Is it going to be all David Montgomery, or will Herbert be involved? Pacheco is getting a lot of steam, but I don't think I want to take him here. Jamaal Williams he will be involved in the Detroit backfield. Michael Gallup, once he's coming off the injury, he might not be ready to start the season, so I don't really want to clog up a roster spot with a guy like that. Christian Watson, the rookie in Green Bay. Honestly, at tight end we got Njoku, so I can wait on tight end still because they won't be off the board for a while. So I'm gonna go with Tyler Allgeier, running back of the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, Cordero Patterson is still there, but he's not a true running back. Tyler Allgeier does not have a ton of draft capital. I don't even know. He was drafted in the 5th round or something. So those running backs usually don't do well, but I think he's a person that might see volume. And if not, oh well, we caught him. I'll draft Tyler Allgeier. We'll see what happens. And yeah, that's unfortunate that all these kickers and defenses are going off the board. I wish I wouldn't do that. Because even in my, I'm in a league with some casuals and some kind of diehards, but I feel like most people usually wait a little bit later for their kicker defense pick. So here we are. We got, taking a look at our team here, I think we're looking pretty solid. Just to kind of go through the lineup here. Trey Lance, Cook, Connor, Diggs, Williams. We got Metcalf in the flex. We can always throw Brandin Cooks, Adam Thielen. Our wide receiver core is just filthy. This is disgustingly good, bro. This is psychotically good. The only problem is I'm going to want to start Mike Williams and Metcalf every week because of their upside, but if they don't hit, it's going to be trouble. It's going to be bad. But taking a look at what's left here, we still got a few rounds left. Khalil Herbert might be a nice little flyer just to see what happens, but Jamaal Williams is guaranteed a roll, almost for sure. You still got Russell Gage. I was once hot and bothered for him, but no longer. Even Austin Hooper really late might be the move, because he should be somewhat involved for the Tennessee Titans. I'm just gonna go with Jamaal Williams. We're taking a lot of shots on running back here late. That's what happens when we got 2 solid running backs early on. Both have injury history, so it's tough. All right, and here we are. Okay. Let's see. Got a few quarterbacks. Raheem Mostert might not be a bad pick. He could. It's him and what's his name? Chase Edmonds for the Dolphins right now. I'm not going to draft him just because I already have one handcuff running back. I don't need another one. My upside is already a little bit limited by that pick. Who else do we have here? Njoku, I could fill that tight end spot. Irv Smith, Rondale Moore. I'm very interested to see how he's used for the Cardinals. Jamison Williams. I'm not really feeling that too much, just because he's probably going to start the season injured. Last I heard, Isaiah McKenzie is a little bit of a sleeper pick, but we're getting a little bit further down the list here. Right now, it's between Rondale Moore or taking one of these 2 tight ends with Njoku or Irv Smith. You know what? Just because Irv Smith is questionable for week 1, I'm gonna go with David Njoku. I already have 2 Vikings on my team as well, with Thielen and Dalvin Cook. So, yeah, Well, I also don't mind Gerald Everett or, Austin Hooper way late. Maybe I take 2 tight ends to finish the draft. We'll have to see. I really hope this website lets me not draft a kicker or a defense. I'm interested to see that. So, or do I take Rondale Moore? I mean, it's tough. It's really tough because Hopkins is going to miss the first, 6 weeks? Hollywood Brown is in town there. They just recently acquired him. He should be very involved. AJ Green is still there. You know what? I am going to go with David Njoku, though. Just get a tight end on the roster. And there goes Moore with the very next pick. See what happens next. There goes Irv Smith. All right. So here we are. We got the Patriots defense, Blankenship at kicker. I don't hate those picks, honestly. I mean, Patriots should be a solid defense. Kicker, Blankenship should be okay, I guess. But I typically, like I said, don't usually draft a kicker or a defense at all. And one note is that usually, you kind of want to stream your defense if you don't get the Rams or something, which you probably shouldn't because you'll have to draft them way too high. So what I like to do is I like to just see what bad teams are playing in week 1 and just target that offense, right? So pick up a defense that's playing a bad offense in week 1. I haven't done my research on who those teams are, but there's articles and stuff out there. Usually you can find some that you can just pick up off the waiver wire right before the season. So it's looking a little bit dry here. Lots of kickers and defenses on the board, it's showing me, but I don't want any of that. Ingram might fill in for Kamara if he's suspended at all. McKissick will be involved in the passing game. Zamir White. We'll see what happens in Vegas. Carolina handcuffs, not really feeling that. Mike Davis might be involved with Dobbins and Gus Edwards, possibly not ready. Benjamin, low-key, is not the worst pick. He's very far down this draft board. That surprises me. We could take another wide receiver here. I mean, at this point, you kind of just want to grab the guys that you like. So there's a lot of decent. I mean, geez, KJ Osborne. I mean, there's a lot of people way down this draft board that I don't hate. I'm gonna go with a little bit of upside here late. A guy like J.D. McKissick will see volume, but what's gonna happen with that? I'm gonna go with Isaiah McKenzie. He's gotten some hype. Should be involved for the Bills. We'll see what happens. I thought about DJ Chark, but I don't know. I think he'll have his weeks. But he's probably someone that's gonna be on the end of my bench that I'd never play, and I'll just be like, dang it. If he gets a long bomb touchdown, I'll just be pissed I didn't play him. And I don't need that energy in my life. So here we are at tight end. We got Gerald Everett. Or we could just take Austin Hooper. Jacoby Myers still available. He should see points. Sammy Watkins. Again, there's a lot of missing targets for the Packers. Watkins could be involved. KJ Osborne, I think, will be involved in the Vikings offense, but I already got a lot of Vikings. Wan'Dale Robinson, if you're talking about maybe going upside here late, a guy like Eno Benjamin, although I already do have James Conner, so I don't know if I really want to handcuff both of my starting running backs. Jacoby Myers will get points, but he's probably not going to be a league winner. Wan'Dale Robinson, he should be involved. They got Kenny Galladay, Kadarius Toney, but Sterling Shepard is coming off of that ACL or that Achilles injury. I mean, that's tough. And then of course Gerald Everett right there. Just to keep it a little bit exciting, there's a couple tight ends I like on the waiver wire with Hooper and Everett, and I already have Njoku, so I don't think I need another tight end. I'm gonna go with Wan'Dale Robinson. Just see what happens. Maybe he comes out in week 1 and he's electric, or maybe not. Either way, it's fine. It is a little sad to see Gerald Everett go. I'm not sure why they made that pick when they already have Darren Waller. It's a little bit interesting. But this is our team. So if Njoku doesn't work out, which let's be honest, he probably won't, the only other option on the waiver wire is Austin Hooper. So if I could redo one thing in this draft, it's not even really a matter of like redoing anything. I could have taken Dalton Schultz here, but that just seemed early to me. I wish, Schultz or even Hawkinson would have fell to me. I could have taken Dallas Goedert. I just waited on tight end a couple times. So I took Mike Williams, right? Or where did he go? I took Metcalf, hoping a tight end would get back to me. Schultz and Hawkinson both went right before me. And then later on, I wanted Zach Ertz to come back to me, and he didn't. And even if Dallas Goedert came back around, I probably would have picked him up. But you know what? It is what it is. That's why mock drafts are important. And you never know what's going to happen in a mock draft, right? So this is our official team. Can I expand this? There we go. We got Trey Lance at quarterback in the 9th round. Great pick. Dalvin Cook and James Conner as our main RBs. We went Stefon Diggs, Mike Williams, and DK Metcalf in the wide receiver and flex spot. We got Njoku at tight end. You know what? Maybe sometime along the season, maybe if Metcalf, if the offense is looking like it's going to struggle, but somehow early on in the season, he breaks free for a long touchdown. And he's a little bit hyped up. Maybe I can trade away Metcalf for a tight end. Or even if Mike Williams has a big explosive like week 1 or something, I could always trade him for a tight end. Just because those guys will have their up and down weeks. And if I can trade one of them for a new tight end that is a little more stable, and then put, Brandin Cooks, Adam Thielen, Chase Edmonds in their spot in the flex to, cover up for trading that wide receiver away, that might be the move. And then we did handcuff Dalvin Cook with Alexander Mattison. Not usually what I like to do, but with Dalvin Cook and Mattison, it's a little bit different, especially with Mattison being involved in trade rumors. He might get shipped out. We'll see. And then I just kind of took a bunch of shots on these players. Isaiah Spiller, Tyler Allgeier, Jamaal Williams should get points. And then Isaiah McKenzie and Wan'Dale Robinson. And that is our mock draft, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you would have done differently. I'm not super stoked about James Conner being the running back 2. If he can stay healthy, he should be the red zone guy. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But I don't hate the team. I don't hate the team at all. I think this is a very solid team. And I'll be doing some more mock drafts coming up here to kind of fine-tune some things, because I have not done a lot of mock drafts lately. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Please make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.